In this video, I'm going to be talking about Friday Beers, the NFT, and why I think it may have the potential to pop off. Now, before we get into the actual NFT itself, I got to talk about Friday Beers, what it is, just so you've got a bit of context to see where the runway could be. Now, look, the best way to describe Friday Beers is they're a podcast. They also do sketches. They also kind of do memes, a bit of culture. So on Twitter, they've got 104,000 followers. On Instagram, they've got 1.7 million followers. On TikTok, they've got 182,000. And on YouTube, they've got sort of 6,500. That's not too much. But right now, they are doing an NFT. Now, this is very similar to the Nelk Boys and when they did their full send. It's similar in the sense that you've got personalities that actually kind of are a group of people that are putting something out there. So I'll touch on that shortly and why I kind of think that there may be a correlation in a sense. And right now, they actually do have their pre-mint open. I've registered, links below. So you can actually kind of get in on this. This isn't a project that I'm bringing you that's like fully bricked up in terms of whitelist, spots, all that kind of stuff. This is still ongoing and it's actually kind of still early in a sense. So you should be able to get onto it. Now, what I want to touch on really quick is when you have a look at the common followers that I kind of have, is the fact that you've got some big heavy hitters that are following this. So you've got Popeye, you've got Ryan D, you've got Champ, Alan, big shout out to Alan, you've got Matt, you've got Pastor, you've got a whole bunch of people here that are that are following it. So it's got a bit of sleeper potential in that sense. And when you actually have a look, they've only got 8 tweets. So we are new, we are early when it comes down to Friday Beers. Now, with the actual project itself, I wanted to get some more information for making this video and kind of seeing how everything connects together. And I actually spoke to the advisor, NFT Boy. Now he is advising on Friday Beers. Now he is I don't want to turn this into a video on him. He just kind of gave me some information, but the idea is he's actually kind of built Rainbow Alpha, which is essentially the Doodles Alpha community, TBD, which is crazy, and then there's also one coming up called Toyo. Now, the reason that I wanted to speak to him is kind of get a vibe and an indication about what's happening with the project, just to kind of give you a bit of an indication of where I think it can go and why I think it has a bit of legs. So when you actually have a look at what they've got, they've built a very strong community base. What they're doing is they've got their podcast, which is great, but they're also putting out memes. On Twitter, it's very NFT based because that's where we're kind of at. But when you have a look at their Instagram, it's not just them kind of doing skits, it's them posting memes. It's very culture based. Now, I think this is good because Friday Beers becomes a bit of a hub. It's something that people are following, something that people are coming across, and they're going hard on their merchandise and everything. When you kind of click on essentially their link tree, they've got a deal to get free chicken sandwiches at Popeyes. We don't have Popeyes out here, although it is tasty and delicious. And then you've got a bunch, they're doing merch. They've got job applications. The idea is they've actually got a whole bunch of things going. They're treating this like an actual business and not just a bunch of guys kind of throwing together a kind of an NFT project off the back of some IP. So they're spending a lot of time, money, and energy actually putting together a bunch of culture in this sense. Now, I've actually come across these guys quite a lot on TikTok because I am on TikTok. Link below, follow me on TikTok, shameless plug. And the idea is that they are putting out skits. They are doing fun things when it comes down to social media and building this social media brand. Now, where I bring this back into it and why I think it has the potential to pop off is that when the Nelk Boys did the full send meta card, it was held with it was a bit contentious. It's essentially just a pass here, whereas the sort of Friday Beers guys are actually doing you can see a little promo here. They are actually doing characters and they've got a little bit of lore slash sort of storylines behind their characters. But the idea is that when the full send, when the Nelk Boys ended up doing this actually had a big crazy run. Now, the reason that I kind of bring this up is that this minted at around 0.75 and it's sitting at 0.67, and this is crazy. This was launched around 200 days ago, and when you actually have a look over here on Nansen, you could see here that it had this crazy big pop up. So 3 days afterwards, it run up to around 2 ETH. And since then, it's kind of slowly pulled back. Now, if you were just looking at this chart alone, what you kind of see and say is, oh, this is dead, it's died. But you got to think, it started off, it ran up, and it's pulled back to essentially its mint levels, especially in this bearish of bearish markets when everything's essentially going to zero. So I'm not saying that the Friday Beers guys are going to hit a mint price and then essentially run up to a crazy sort of 4, 5, 6x and then kind of pull back. But what I'm saying is you can then draw these similarities, these parallels, because when you can actually compare a very similar vibe and a similar aspect when it comes to some people that have a brand online, on YouTube, on Instagram, and they're actually kind of coming together to actually kind of tokenize it in a sense. I think that's really cool. Now, where I think this goes a little bit longer term with Friday Beers is the fact that because they are creating content, they're able to continuously plug and push it. Now, I think this is very crucial and important. Some of the best projects that we see in the space are projects that have a founder that are out front. They are able to promote that project again and again, over and over. And this is why I think sort of certain blue chip projects, certain influencer projects actually do quite well, because you've got essentially a spokesperson pushing that forward. So with Friday Beers, I can see the team continuously pushing out the NFT and going, hey, this is your membership. This is you joining the Friday Beers Club. And I'm not saying anything, but it's very lined up very well, and they sort of savvy enough to get some deals. It's one of those things where I can see some utility being within this NFT later on down the line, just because of the fact that they are able and savvy to kind of get these deals across the line to kind of benefit their holders. I don't think these benefits be crazy huge, but there is that there. So the fact is they are able to push the NFT and actually kind of continuously communicate to new people that come across them, because their TikTok account will get to 1 million followers. Then people are going to be like, oh, when people are ready to move into the NFT space, you're like, okay, cool, I can move into this. And then where I like this is the speculation comes into play, where other speculators in the space may not care about Friday Beers or the sort of team around it, but they know that they are important. They know that them being in the Web3 space, they can move first, they can speculate to then hopefully ride that wave. Hence why I think the full send Metacard did so well, because you had a lot of people that were savvy enough to be able to mint these that kind of got caught up in the hype and hysteria, and it kind of ran. Now, touching back on the advisor, the reason that I think this is crucial when it comes down to a project like Friday Beers is the fact that you've got a team or an advisor that can actually ensure that the team executes correctly, that executes right, because we have seen over and over again big Web2 brands come into the space and just fail at a launch. Right now, as I'm speaking, Lamborghini's doing a drop and it doesn't look too good, doesn't look too hot. The fact is, you need to have someone that's deep in the Web3 space to actually kind of help navigate brands that are new to the Web3 space, to actually kind of communicate and convey value in that sense. And I think that's important. So I think it is a bullish indicator, the fact that you've got an advisor that is deep in the space, that is well connected, because they're able to ensure the success, at least on that ground foundation level, to ensure that it actually does sort of come out and just launch correctly. Now, when it comes down to the supply and price, it's not going to be a 10K mint, it's going to be something closer to the 5. And when it comes to the mint price, I wouldn't be expecting a cheap mint given the brand behind it, especially if there is a heavy Web2 utility, which it looks like it's going down. So please keep that in mind when you're kind of doing your research. Don't expect a sort of essentially a free mint on this one. Now, I touched on it earlier, but the art, Mike Manor is doing the art, and he does some very funny artwork, so this kind of pixel art. I think that this is just interesting because unlike an access card or a pass or something like that, it's very fun. It kind of fits in the kind of what they're doing. It gives these people little personas, and I think this is where you can kind of end up getting a little bit more runway out of a project itself when it comes down to reveals, things like that. So Mike Manor, he is actually doing the art, and I think that's cool that they've actually got an artist to come on and actually do something in their style to actually kind of add to it, because I feel like that is important when it comes to the ecosystem of launching a project. I know that some people say the PFP meta is dead, and I think it is kind of slowly dying out, but it is nice to see something that isn't just the exact same sort of spinning credit card or access card. So that is Friday Beers the NFT, and how their entire ecosystem has essentially come together to create this NFT project, and hopefully that kind of gives you an insight into the diving and the digging that I kind of do when looking into these projects, and then kind of sort it out. And another cool thing is you're not going to have to whitelist grind. You can actually jump into their premium link and actually kind of register, and I think that's cool. I think that's dope, because it kind of just reduces that barrier to entry. So hopefully you found value in this video. If you did, please consider hitting up that subscribe button. And while you're down there, also hit up the like button. As always, it's been a pleasure having you with me. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.